Hi, my name is Jackie, and I'm one of the designers at the Ribbon Shed. This is the Monster Kit. Let's talk about the supplies that you're going to get. First, you're going to get this really cute monster wreath attachment. You're going to get one roll of deco mesh. You're going to get 3 peppermint twist ornaments. You're going to get 2 rolls of ribbon, one 2.5 and one 7/8 ribbon. You're going to get pipe cleaners, and you're going to get the Unique in the Creek board. The other tools that you're going to need for this project: a pair of scissors and a glue gun. Let's get started. All right, my friends, to start, you're going to need 16 pipe cleaners. I have already loaded 8 of them. I'm going to show you how to load the rest. What I do is I typically take 4 of my pipe cleaners, line them up. We're going to just kind of fold them in half a little bit. You don't want to crimp them down, you just kind of want to make a shape. And then once you make your U shape, flip your board over, and we're going to do every other set of holes. You want to make sure when you load your first pipe cleaner on the outside that it is above the single hole. You go down to the next row, you're going to skip every single hole. Once you get your board loaded, just flip it over real quick and put it down on your table. And start twisting your pipe cleaners a couple times to secure them to your board. All right, once we get our pipe cleaner secure, we're ready to start loading our board down with mesh. All right, for the outside row, you're going to need 8 pieces of mesh cut 20 inches. For the inside row, you're going to need 8 pieces of mesh cut 15 inches. Push the inside row out of the way. And what I like to do is open up my pipe cleaners on the outside. Get ready to load board. All you want to do with your mesh to prevent it from fraying, you're going to kind of do a little tuck roll and then ruffle. Then on the end, you'll tuck it and bring your ruffle to you. And now your ruffle is ready to go into your pipe cleaner. Once again, you're going to take your mesh, tuck it down, start ruffling. Then at the end, kind of roll it a little bit. Make sure your ends here are even. Now what I do is I take my thumb and push my mesh down. That makes it easier to tie my pipe cleaner. All right, one last time. Let me show you this. Take your mesh, roll it up one time, ruffle it. At the end, kind of tuck it down too. Make sure your ends are even. Take your thumb, push down, then twist your pipe cleaner a couple times. All right, for this last piece of mesh, what you want to do, pull up your previous piece and then you want to tuck it under, and that's just so that your row is consistent on how your mesh lays. Now for the inside, our mesh, remember we needed 8 pieces cut 15 inches. We're going to use the same technique with the ruffling, but when you put your mesh in, kind of cram your previous mesh forward. So take your piece of mesh, see how I push my previous ruffles forward. And then we're going to lay down our 15-inch piece like so. Once again, cram the mesh forward, place our 15-inch ruffle. This is the technique that's going to give you depth wreath. All right, now that we have our wreath base nice and full, we're ready to start putting our ribbon on. The 7/8 ribbon, you're going to need to cut 10 pieces, 14 inches long. The 2.5, you're going to need to cut another 10 pieces, 14 inches long, and dovetail them. Now we're going to use 8 to go around the outside. You want to make sure that your lettering is all facing the same direction. Line your ribbon up, kind of fold it in half, and then you want to put a pinch on it. Another way to put your pinch on your ribbon, take your 2 pieces of ribbon. Once again, flat on your table, line them up, and then fold them in half. Open it up, their center, and then kind of ruffle it up. Make your pinch. All right, now that we have all our ribbon on, we're going to start out by putting our wreath hanger on. I'm going to use a zip tie to do that. You'll notice on your board on the outside row that there's 2 holes that are closer together than the rest of them. Those are the ones for your hanger. All right, so now we're ready to put our green monster on. Okay, and we're going to do that by poking a couple of holes. So we're going to grab a couple pipe cleaners. And this is felt, so it's actually easy to poke a hole in. I use an ice pick, so if you just find something a little bit sharp around your house, pinch up a nice amount of material. Hold that so you get your pipe cleaner, and it's easier to get your pipe cleaner through. I'm going to go up to the hat a little bit. All right, so I want to make sure where top of my wreath is, and then lay that down. And the holes that we're going to use, to pull our pipe cleaners through, we're going to be using these 2 holes right here that are directly below our hanger. What I'm using to pull my pipe cleaners through is called a darning needle or a yarn needle. It makes it super easy to just poke up through the mesh. I got mine at Walmart. But it just makes it super easy to poke up through the mesh and find your pipe cleaner. Now you just want to pull down till you get a little bit of resistance against your mesh. Twist your pipe cleaner. And now we're going to go to the top. And we're going to use the same two holes just below our wreath hanger. All right, so we're twisting our pipe cleaner up. And what you want to do with the leftover pipe cleaner is tuck it directly back into a hole. And that's going to keep the back of your board nice and clean and free of anything that can scratch a door. Okay, so now you have your other pieces of ribbon that we set aside. So I knew when I was designing this, there was going to be a little space right here that was going to need a little bit of ribbon. So on the inside here, find your pipe cleaner. And put your piece of ribbon in, one of each. And do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, now that we got all our ribbon on, we're ready to make our bow. I'm going to use the Easy Bow Maker to make mine. You can use M's Bow and Go, and it will go the exact same way. We're going to take two pipe cleaners and we're going to twist them together. All right, so first you want to take your 2.5 ribbon. We're going to dovetail it. And we're going to make a 7-inch tail. Grab your ribbon and then you want to make a 180 twist. Bad side up, good side up, and slide that down between your two pegs. Okay? And then we're going to make a 7-inch loop. Pinch your ribbon again. No twist this time. And we're just going to cut our tail off. We're going to grab our 7/8 ribbon. We're going to dovetail it. Make your twist. Put it in your peg. And these loops are going to be about 6.5 inches. And we're going to do 2 loops on each side. Then once again, we're going to come back to our green ribbon. And this loop is going to be about 6 inches. All right, once you're done with your bow, take your 2 pipe cleaners and crisscross them between the pegs and kind of pull down. That's going to make it so that you can get your bow out without your stack falling apart. Pull out on it. Pinch down. Really tighten it down and then twist. All right, for this particular bow, we're going to cut off the excess pipe cleaner because we don't need it because of where we're going to put it. We're going to use this pipe cleaner right here to secure in our bow. I like to pull my tails down first, and I'm not going to pull them down too far. Kind of more out to the side a little bit. Really pull and separate my loops. I like to take a couple of my tails and pull them kind of up. To me, that just really fills the bow out. What I'm going to do is cut these just a little bit shorter. So they don't cover up my wreath attachment. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the fun to the wreath. Okay? With your leftover mesh, you're going to cut 8 pieces, 8 inches. And we're going to put what's called spirals in the outside of the wreath. You just kind of take and roll these up. You don't want to roll them up too tight. Find center, give it a pinch. Take the open edge, make sure it's facing in toward the wreath. Now at this point we're done with the pipe cleaner, so usually I just kind of tuck them away. I'm not worried about cutting them off. I just tuck them under. Doing this kind of adds a little bit of fun, whimsy, and texture to your wreath. All right, now that we got all our spirals in, what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of faux bows, 3 of them to be exact. Grab your green ribbon. And cut 3 pieces 24 inches. Then you want to cut 3 more pieces 14 inches. All right, so what we're going to do, just underneath, we're going to grab our pipe cleaner, take one of our ribbon tails, pinch it down, and then we're just going to sit it there. Our pipe cleaner will hold it. We're just going to sit it there. Now we're going to take our 24-inch piece and we're going to loop it. Find center. Double check and make sure that's center. Then we're going to pinch that up. Twist that in really good with our pipe cleaner. Okay, so you've got a pipe cleaner here. We're going to skip over one to the next one. The same thing again. Pinch it up. And once again, we're going to skip over this pipe cleaner here and go on to the next one. And the last thing we're going to do now is we're going to add in our happy little peppermints. Our happy little peppermints are ornaments and they have a little piece of fishing line on them, which we're going to snip off, get out of the way. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add some hot glue. I'm going to put a liberal amount of hot glue on my edge. And this is going to be the back. I'm going to push my spiral down and I'm going to tuck it straight in. You accidentally touch your ribbon with your hot glue, don't get the hot glue off until it cools down. Just wait. All right, my friends, there you have it, your Green Monster Wreath. I hope you enjoyed making this kit along with me. Thank y'all so much. Bye, y'all.